Hello and welcome back to Tools of the Trade. This is the second episode, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about one of the hats that I wear here at the Shippensburg Historical Society. And that's not literally the hat that I'm wearing, but it deals more along the lines with social media. As we know, social media, it's a blessing, but at the same time, a lot of people don't like social media. But social media relatively is a new idea when it comes to promoting your historical sites. So if you're a student and you like to Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or YouTube, whatever it is, most chances are there's going to be a career in social media, and that career going into the next several years is going to explode. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the tools of social media that I use here at the Historical Society, as well as some of the programs. That way, if that's kind of the direction you want to go into with your career, you'll have a better understanding of how important social media is to historical sites. So when it comes down to social media, there's a lot that goes into social media. There are several different platforms that are out there, from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube, Parler, Skype. Let's see here. There's a bunch of them out there. And social media, a lot of times they're fads. They come in with popularity, but then eventually it gets replaced by something better. So I don't know how many of you remember MySpace, but for the most part, Facebook replaced MySpace a long time ago. When I was working with the Maryland Park Service, the whole idea of social media was brand new, and this was back in 2009. And I had the pleasure of attending a workshop with the Capital Region National Park Service Ranger by the name of Ranger Jason Marks, and this was brand new, like I said. And all this went into preparations as well as coordination for the 150th, or the subsequent centennial, of the American Civil War with our sites. Now, with social media, what Jason was trying to get across is that you can document the events. You have pictures that are being taken, that way they can be uploaded. You have videos that are being taken. You can make miniature documentaries that can be uploaded. And all that was to kind of gain excitement around that historical site. That way the person who could not be there, number one, could still participate on his computer. That way, as you're pointing out different landmarks, that person can also see what the actual people in the tour were experiencing. And then from there, it kind of helps to document those events. So it kind of, I guess in some cases, it puts a chronological order on some of the history. And when it comes down to the 150th of the American Civil War, there were literally hundreds of people that attended these types of programs that normally would not attend a program during the off year. So working for an agency, we were excited about that, but when it came to actually creating social media for our actual park, the agency came back and said, we'll go ahead and create one solid page to promote the entire organization across the state, but as far as individual Facebook pages, we're not going to allow that. So luckily for us, Antietam National Battlefield did a lot of the documentation for that. And of course, when Jason would give lectures on the importance of social media during the 150th, he used a lot of the footage and a lot of the photographs from my tour, as well as the tours that were conducted down in Antietam. So to get around our organization, basically we looked at our defunct friends group, and we were like, you know what, we can create a Facebook page using their name that would promote our park. Because during the 150th, we had a lot of exciting things that were going on. I did real-time tours of various parts of the battlefield, as well as some of the other seasonal rangers there. We also did a lot of other events that would be nice to showcase to people in order to get them to come to your site. But for the 150th, we were also opening up actually three brand new renovated museums. And we wanted people to see that. That way it would entice them to come to our site. So we went ahead and created a Facebook page for our friends group, and that's how we got around that. And of course, those experiences I had a lot of fun with. And then when I moved on to Monterey Pass, I did the same thing. Even if it was a small event, we always had somebody there taking photographs. We also tried doing some video, but at the time, with us, we were limited to our cell phones, which sometimes the video quality isn't always that good. So let's go ahead and move on to some of the tools that I use here at the Shippensburg Historical Society to basically create engaging social media posts that a lot of our followers enjoy. So some of the important tools that I use for social media here: cell phone, sometimes a camera, and sometimes my computer here. Nice thing about that is I can take that anywhere within the building, but I do have one main computer that I work from. And then the last important piece of equipment that I use here, and that is what we're using right now, is the camera itself when we do videos. So the nice thing about having all this at your disposal is that really the ideals are endless as far as what you can do. If you want to take some really good photographs of different artifacts within your collection, a nice camera will do. But then again, sometimes just having a simple cell phone will also help out. What I do with the cell phone is a lot of times I take pictures of the actual photograph. That's why the quality sometimes isn't exactly as good, but I do that for a reason. That way, if you would like to use that photograph, we can scan in a nice high resolution of that photograph for you to use, as long as you sign a waiver or the agreement. But other than that, when I take a photograph using my camera, I have a lot of really cool apps that I use, and these are free as long as you don't mind having a commercial here and there. One of the things that I know a lot of people in Shippensburg really like was the fact that I would take a black and white photograph and I would colorize it. And I use a program called Colorize for that. And it's an app that you can go to the Google Play Store. And it is so simple. So you take a photograph, and then from there you can go ahead and colorize it. And what it does is that it saves it. And then from there, when you post on social media, you can have the black and white or the original version with a colorized version right next to it. And what that does, it adds an extra layer or an extra texture to that photograph that a lot of times that people normally don't see. Some people enjoy looking at the original photographs. Sometimes other people like to take what they see in today's terms and use those same terms to see photographs back then. And that's why colorizations are just one of many tools that we use here at the Historical Society. Another program that I like to use is for when we have negatives. And I use what's called the Kodak mobile film scanner. And this again is free. And what this does, it allows me to take a negative and convert it into a positive. So you're looking at the negative here, I take a picture of that negative, and then it would become a positive or a normal photograph. And the nice thing about this is that not a lot of, or do grant most of our photographs are black and white. We do have some photographs that are negatives that are in color. The app will also allow me to take photographs of that as well. The one thing I found using an app like this with the negatives is that you have to be in a small, dark room. And what I have is a very bright LED light, kind of like a lantern set up inside of a box. And I cut a hole in the top of the box and I put a white piece of paper down. That way, when the picture is taken of the negative, only the white light is hitting that negative, and that allows us to get more of a higher quality photograph off of that negative. Now, this next program that I love to use is called Colorscape. I downloaded this more for our educational programs, as well as our educational materials that we would hand out. Once in a while, I'll post something like this on Facebook, because a lot of people are interested in doing more of the passive programming. So here I have an image of my German Shepherd that I pretty much made into a coloring page. And the nice thing about all these apps is that you can pretty much email these right from your phone to your main computer. Or if you want, you can go ahead and download the Facebook or the Instagram or the Twitter apps, and you can upload them directly off of your cell phone. So when you're looking at social media, the cell phone is probably one of the most important tools, along with the camera, or this, in this case, the video camera. Now, when you want to showcase products, or in this case, artifacts, photography is very important. So if you're inside of a facility such as the Historical Society here, most of the history is inside. And we want to have cameras that are nice to be able to zoom in on the artifact. That way the people can have a chance to see the artifact up close, just in case they can't be here. And when you do that, it helps to promote your organization. So definitely, if you're into photography and you like history, social media career within a historical site might be the way you go. Another programs that I like to use more for these here, these portable Chromebooks, is blogging. We have a website, which websites back then were really good. The problem is with websites, you're very limited to the information you can put out there. So by using social media such as blogs, you can go ahead and have somebody write historical articles, and from there you can upload and publish directly to the internet. That way you're giving more material to the people that are out there who are not necessarily able to come into your facility. So definitely use all the tools that you have at your disposal. So the nice thing about having a camera with you, and every historical site needs to do this in order to be successful, is you want to showcase how your events are. The more things that you can post on social media, and this is where you need a good photographer to capture those special moments. This is good because it allows people to have an interest in your site, to experience the program, but it also allows other people who've never been there to be like, okay, maybe I'm seeing a lot of fun stuff, so maybe I should be able to attend a program there. So what you're looking at here, this is from the Antietam National Battlefield from the 150th commemoration of South Mountain. And what their photographer and their social media expert, Jason Martz, did, who was a ranger, he captured my tours when I was down as a ranger. So this was me giving a tour of as a real-time tour of the fighting at Fox's Gap, which occurred on September 14th. Another photograph of me, but what he did was he captured the people that were surrounding. And you can see that he was in the middle of the line here. So when you have photographs like this, it also helps to document not only the program, but the history of your organization. So I was really happy to be able to participate in these kind of programs when I was down at South Mountain as a contractual ranger historian. Taking what Jason had taught me, I moved to Monterey Pass, and I would have a photographer who would do the same thing for us. That way it gives, again, it gives people an idea. You know, here was when we did an outreach program here at Shippensburg, and I dressed as a New York soldier. So photography is very important. Social media is also important. As you can see here, we have our Facebook page. So you want to make sure that you create posts that are meaningful and that are going to be interesting for people to see and enjoy. And what we do here, we do interviews. We also here do, like I said, those black and white photographs, converting them into color to kind of give it some extra content. And that's what a lot of people like. They like seeing different things. Twitter, I'm not really much of a fan on Twitter, but some people really love Twitter, and it's easy. You basically write a couple sentences and you post a photograph. But what I love is blogs, and I've had numerous blogs in my past, and this one here is one because not everybody is on social media, but if they're aware that you have a blog, this is an alternative for them to experience the same types of programs or postings that you would be putting on social media. And this one here is directed more toward the educational side because of the fact that with the quarantine, we weren't able to allow children to come in. So what I did was I went ahead and created the videos of educational programs and put them up for people to experience or to teach their kids. Another important aspect of social media, or in this case communications, I use a program called Canva. Our newsletters are done through this way here. And it's nice because it lays out everything for you. All you got to do is just put the content in there. And of course, we also use MailChimp, which is our mass mailer. So if you receive something from MailChimp, by all means, make sure it goes directly to your mailbox and not to your spam. So those are just some of the social media tools that we use here at the Historical Society. So YouTube obviously is an important aspect of social media. That's where you can upload videos. And videos, this is where a good videography or a videographer would come into play. And that aspect of history you can do documentaries with, but really when you're looking at social media, you can do videos, and videos are important. And here at the Historical Society, luckily for me, I had basically very limited experience with putting videos together. But the way that the technology is that everything at these computers, for the most part, have that program that you can use. And the program is so simple. So over here, you just scroll down until you come across Video Editor. You click on that and it brings up a screen. From there, you can go ahead and create a new project. And then from there, you just add all the different sections to the video. And you use your storyboard down here to put things together. You can put custom audio into it. You can also put in background music to it. You can put photographs into it and just do like a video, or not a video, but like a recording over top. That way you can explain what those items are. So videos are extremely important. And then when you're finished, you basically finish the video. Once it's saved on your desktop, you go right over to YouTube and you upload it from there. A lot of organizations now usually have 1 or 2 or maybe 3 people that are in charge of their social media accounts, which is a good thing because when I came here, a lot of our social media accounts had the previous director's email addresses into them, or they had email addresses that expired. So the one thing that I had to do for the most part was narrow it down and just use one simple generic email system. That way I can access and redo all of our channels. So videos are very important because sometimes you can fit more into a video than what you can into an actual photograph. So students out there, if you're interested in having a career in social media, by all means, I encourage you to go ahead and talk to the guidance counselors or the counselors at the various high school level all the way up to the college level or university levels, and see what it is that you need to do to pursue that career. Because let's face it, with websites, you're very limited to what you can put on there, but social media allows people to experience the history of whatever site it is that you're working at. And I can see through for the next several years, social media is going to be crucial and it's going to be key to any organization's success. So until then, I want to say take it easy and thank you for watching. And I'll see you next time for episode 3.